There's a magic in holding back. In a world obsessed with broadcasting every move, every plan, and every achievement, there's strength in stepping back and letting your actions tell your story. Too often, we fall into the trap of telling people what we're going to do, trying to validate our dreams before they've even had the chance to grow. But here's the truth: dreams don't thrive in noise, they thrive in action. Vulnerability, it's a word that makes many of us uncomfortable. It's often misunderstood, seen as a sign of weakness, fragility, or a lack of control. But what if I told you that vulnerability is one of the greatest strengths you can ever possess? What if embracing it is the key to unlocking authentic connection, meaningful success, and true courage in your life? When we think about strength, we often picture resilience, unshakable confidence, and the ability to stand tall in the face of adversity. But strength is so much more than just appearing tough. It's about showing up fully and authentically, even when it feels risky. Vulnerability is the foundation of that authenticity. It's the courage to say, here I am, messy, imperfect, but real. At its core, vulnerability is about being honest with yourself and others. It's about letting down the walls that we build to protect ourselves from judgment, rejection, or failure. These walls may keep us safe, but they also keep us disconnected from ourselves, from our goals, and from the people around us. When we lean into vulnerability, we stop hiding behind the facade of perfection and allow others to see who we truly are. Now, I know what you might be thinking: if I let myself be vulnerable, won't that make me look weak? Won't people take advantage of me? But here's the paradox of vulnerability: it doesn't diminish you, it elevates you. People aren't drawn to perfection, they're drawn to humanity. They don't connect with the flawless version of you, they connect with the real version of you. Vulnerability is what turns transactions into relationships, acquaintances into allies, and ideas into movements. Consider this: every great leader, innovator, and changemaker has had to embrace vulnerability. They've had to step into uncertainty, take risks, and expose themselves to potential failure. Imagine if they had waited until they were certain of success before taking that first step. Imagine if they had hidden their struggles or pretended they had it all figured out. Vulnerability isn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear and moving forward anyway. It's having the courage to try, even when there are no guarantees. Vulnerability also allows you to connect with others in a deeper, more meaningful way. When you open up about your struggles, your fears, or your dreams, you invite others to do the same. This creates a space for trust, empathy, and mutual understanding. And isn't that what we're all craving? To feel seen, heard, and understood? But let's be clear: vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or exposing every part of yourself to everyone. It's not about broadcasting your struggles to the world or seeking attention. True vulnerability is intentional. It's about sharing with those who have earned the right to hear your story. It's about being selective, knowing when and with whom to open up. In a professional setting, vulnerability might look like admitting when you don't know something instead of pretending you do. It might mean asking for help or sharing an idea that you're not sure will work but believe in deeply. In personal relationships, it might mean expressing how you truly feel, even if it's uncomfortable. It might mean saying, I'm scared or I need support, instead of bottling it all up inside. When you embrace vulnerability, you give others permission to do the same. You create a ripple effect that fosters authenticity, courage, and connection. You show the world that it's okay to be human, to have doubts, and to take risks. And in doing so, you inspire others to step into their own power. The fear of vulnerability often stems from the fear of rejection or failure. But here's the truth: rejection and failure are a part of life. You can't avoid them no matter how much you try to protect yourself. What you can do is choose how you respond to them. Vulnerability teaches you resilience. It shows you that you can survive the discomfort of being seen, that you can rise after a fall, and that you're stronger than you think. So how can you start embracing vulnerability in your own life? Begin by getting honest with yourself. Where are you holding back? What are you afraid to share or admit? Then, take small steps to lean into that discomfort. Share a piece of your story with someone you trust. Speak up in a meeting, even if your voice shakes. Take a chance on that idea you've been holding back. Remember, vulnerability isn't a one-time act, it's a practice. It's a choice you make every day to show up, be seen, and take risks, even when it feels uncomfortable. And while it may not always be easy, it's always worth it. Because when you embrace vulnerability, you embrace your humanity. You stop hiding and start living. You stop fearing judgment and start seeking connection. And in the process, you discover a strength you never knew you had, a strength that has the power to transform not just your life, but the lives of those around you. So step into your vulnerability, lean into the discomfort, and remember, your willingness to be real, raw, and authentic is not a weakness, it's your greatest strength. In a world where oversharing has become the norm, mystery feels like a lost art. Social media and constant connectivity tempt us to broadcast every detail of our lives, from our daily routines to our future goals. But here's a surprising truth: holding back and keeping a touch of mystery can create deeper connections and spark genuine curiosity. Mystery isn't about being secretive or evasive, it's about creating space for others to wonder, engage, and explore who you are on their own terms. Think about the relationships or interactions that have intrigued you the most. Chances are they weren't with people who laid out every detail of their lives immediately. They were with those who left you wanting to know more, who allowed you the joy of discovering them piece by piece. The power of mystery lies in the way it draws people in. When you leave room for curiosity, you invite others to pay attention, to ask questions, and to invest time in getting to know you. This creates a foundation for authentic connection, one based not on what you tell them about yourself, but on what they experience and uncover in your presence. Let's take a step back and think about why we're often so quick to share everything. For many, it's a desire for validation. We want people to see our work, our plans, or our achievements and affirm that we're on the right path. But ironically, this eagerness to reveal it all can dilute the impact of what we're trying to share. When everything is out in the open, there's no story left to unfold, no layers to peel back. The excitement of discovery, the thing that fuels connection and engagement, is lost. Mystery doesn't mean withholding your entire self from the world, it means being intentional about what you reveal and when. It means recognizing that you don't need to explain yourself to everyone, that your value doesn't come from how much you share, but from the depth of what you bring to the table. Think about this in terms of your professional life. If you constantly tell people about the projects you're working on or the ideas you have before they come to fruition, you risk not only losing their attention, but also diluting your momentum. On the other hand, when you focus on quietly doing the work and then reveal the results, you command respect and admiration. People are more likely to pay attention when they see the outcome of your effort rather than just hearing about your intentions. The same principle applies to personal relationships. Mystery can deepen the bond between people by creating a sense of discovery and intrigue. When you allow others to get to know you gradually, you give them the gift of uncovering who you are in a meaningful way. This doesn't mean being distant or closed off, it means letting your actions, your presence, and your authenticity speak louder than words. Now let's address a common misconception. Some people think that being mysterious means being inaccessible or unapproachable. But true mystery isn't about putting up walls, it's about creating windows. It's about inviting people to look in and see glimpses of your world, but not feeling the need to throw open every door. It's about balancing openness with intentionality. When you cultivate mystery, you also preserve something incredibly valuable: your energy. Constantly sharing everything with everyone can be draining. It puts you in a position where you're always explaining, justifying, or seeking approval. By keeping some things private, you reclaim your energy and focus it where it truly matters: on your growth, your goals, and your relationships. Mystery also aligns with one of the most powerful human motivators: curiosity. Curiosity is what drives us to learn, to explore, and to connect. When you embody a sense of mystery, you naturally ignite curiosity in others. You create a magnetic pull that makes people want to understand you, to know your story, to be part of your journey. So how can you embrace mystery in your life? Start by reflecting on what you choose to share and why. Are you sharing out of a need for validation, or because it truly adds value to the conversation or relationship? Practice holding back, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Let your actions and accomplishments speak for themselves, and allow people to notice them without you having to point them out. Remember, mystery isn't about playing games or manipulating others, it's about creating space for genuine connection. It's about recognizing that you don't need to explain yourself to be understood, that you don't need to share everything to be valued. In a world where everyone seems to be shouting, be the one who whispers. Be the one who leaves something to the imagination, who invites others to explore, and who allows curiosity to pave the way for connection. Because in the end, mystery isn't just about keeping others intrigued, it's about staying true to yourself and letting your story unfold naturally, beautifully, and authentically. In today's world, it often feels like we need to be constantly talking about our achievements, our goals, or our future plans to get noticed, to be heard, or to be taken seriously. Social media, personal branding, and networking have created a culture where words are the currency of success. But what if I told you that your words aren't what truly define you or your work? What if I told you that the most powerful message you can send is the one your actions and results convey, rather than the promises or explanations you speak? The truth is, letting your work speak louder than your words is one of the most powerful choices you can make. It requires a shift from seeking external validation to trusting in the inherent value of what you do. It's about understanding that true impact doesn't come from talking about what you're going to do, but from showing up and doing it. There's something profoundly compelling about someone who lets their work speak for itself. Think about it, the most respected leaders, creatives, and innovators rarely need to shout about their achievements. Their work stands as a testament to their capabilities. They don't need to explain themselves, their results do all the talking. Whether it's a successful business venture, a groundbreaking piece of art, or a transformative social movement, the work itself is what makes the statement. And that's exactly the kind of power you have when you shift your focus from words to action. The temptation to talk about what we're doing can stem from a desire for recognition or fear of being overlooked. In our digital age, it's easy to fall into the trap of needing to constantly prove ourselves to others, especially in a world full of comparison and competition. But here's the paradox: the more we talk about what we're doing, the less room there is for others to truly engage with our work. When we're constantly speaking, we drown out the quiet power of results. Imagine this: you're working on a project, something you're deeply passionate about, something that requires time, effort, and patience. Instead of announcing your every step, you simply focus on the work itself. You give it your full attention, let it evolve naturally, and allow it to speak for itself. The result? People notice, they see your dedication, your quality, and your authenticity. They may even be inspired to take action themselves. The power of your work becomes the story that others are drawn to, not your explanations or justifications. Letting your work speak for itself doesn't mean avoiding communication altogether. It's not about being silent or disengaged, it's about being strategic with your words and energy. It's about choosing to share your work, your progress, and your success when it has the most impact, not when you're seeking approval or validation. This can be particularly difficult in a world that prioritizes instant gratification, but the true magic happens when you allow your work to develop on its own terms and reveal its worth organically. The focus on doing rather than talking is also liberating. It frees you from the constant pressure to explain, justify your decisions. When you rely on the impact of your actions, you don't have to constantly defend yourself or convince others. Your results speak for you. And as they do, they build a reputation for you that is grounded in real accomplishments, not just promises or good intentions. This principle is especially crucial in the workplace. Many professionals fall into the trap of feeling the need to constantly share their accomplishments or let others know about their hard work. But when you focus solely on delivering high-quality results, your reputation is built on the work itself, not on your ability to articulate it. Over time, people start to recognize you for your ability to follow through and deliver. Your work becomes synonymous with your brand. In personal relationships, letting your work speak louder than words can create a more authentic connection. When you demonstrate your values, care, and commitment through actions, whether it's showing up for someone, putting in the effort, or offering support without needing acknowledgement, you build trust. Your deeds show who you are far more than any words can. Another aspect of letting your work speak for itself is the power of consistency. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the moment, making big declarations or promises, but true power comes from showing up again and again, doing the work even when no one is watching. The key is consistency, not in sharing your progress constantly, but in continuously showing up with dedication and excellence. Letting your work speak louder than your words also means embracing silence. In a culture that often values talking over doing, silence can be one of your greatest tools. Instead of constantly announcing your next move, you create an environment where your actions are the focus, not your rhetoric. This shift allows you to reclaim your energy, remove distractions, and give your full attention to the work at hand. When the results come, they will be undeniable and compelling. So how can you start letting your work speak louder than your words? The first step is to trust in the value of your work, regardless of external recognition. Focus on the process, not the applause. Give your full attention to the task at hand, knowing that when you do, the results will speak for themselves. Practice restraint when it comes to over-explaining or justifying your actions, and instead, let the impact of your work shine through. In the end, it's the substance of what you create and contribute that will leave a lasting impression, not the noise surrounding it. Your work is your most authentic voice. Let it do the talking. In a world where everyone seems to be constantly sharing, posting, and talking about themselves, it's easy to believe that the key to authenticity is making noise, speaking up, standing out, and putting your thoughts into the spotlight. However, true authenticity often thrives in quiet spaces, where we can reflect, listen, and simply be. It's in these moments of silence that we connect deeply with our true selves and allow our genuine nature to unfold. Authenticity is the essence of being true to who you are without the need to perform, to conform, or to seek validation from others. But in the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to get caught up in the pressure to constantly show up, to explain ourselves, or to be everything to everyone. Yet, the more we talk, the more we reveal to the world, the more we might lose touch with what's truly important, the still, quiet voice that lives inside each of us. When we learn to embrace silence, we step into a space where our authenticity can truly blossom. Silence doesn't mean shutting down or becoming disengaged. It's about creating space for introspection, reflection, and self-awareness. It's in silence that we can hear our own thoughts, untangle our feelings, and understand our desires. It's in silence that we give ourselves permission to be real, to exist without the need for explanation or justification. Consider how often we feel the need to fill every space with words. Whether in conversations, meetings, or social media platforms, we feel compelled to share our thoughts, our opinions, and our plans. This constant verbalizing can be an attempt to assert our presence, to gain approval, or to build an image. But in doing so, we may inadvertently distance ourselves from our true selves. The more we speak, the less we listen not only to others, but also to our own inner voice. And it's this inner voice that holds the key to our authenticity. True authenticity requires us to be in tune with ourselves, to know who we are and what we value. And sometimes the best way to access that knowledge is by giving ourselves time to be silent and reflect. When we embrace moments of quiet, we can begin to distinguish between what we truly believe and what we've absorbed from external influences. We can ask ourselves, is this my truth? Or is this something I've been conditioned to think or do? In silence, we have the space to process our thoughts and align our actions with our values. One of the challenges we face in a noisy world is the pressure to constantly explain ourselves. We often feel like we have to justify our decisions, our beliefs, or our actions. But this need for constant explanation can chip away at our authenticity. When we feel compelled to explain every choice we make, we risk diluting our own convictions. We begin to shape our actions around what we think others expect or approve of, rather than staying true to ourselves. Silence, in this case, becomes a sanctuary, a place where we can hold our truth without needing to seek external validation. The beauty of authenticity is that it isn't about being loud or drawing attention to ourselves. It's about being present in the moment and showing up as we truly are, regardless of outside pressure. When we embrace silence, we allow ourselves to be present without the need to perform. In doing so, we invite others to do the same. We create space for real, deep connection because when we stop talking all the time, we start listening both to ourselves and to others. Authenticity blossoms not in the noise, but in the stillness. This is particularly powerful in personal relationships. When we stop trying to be everything for everyone, when we stop seeking constant validation through words, we create room for deeper, more genuine interactions. We stop over-explaining ourselves, and instead we let our actions, our presence, and our character speak for us. Authenticity is not about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about showing up honestly and vulnerably, even if we don't have all the answers. In the professional world, silence and authenticity also go hand in hand. Too often, we feel the need to market ourselves, to boast about our achievements, or to share our progress with everyone. While there's nothing wrong with sharing your successes, the constant need for visibility can sometimes mask the true depth of your work. The most authentic professionals are not the ones who constantly talk about what they're going to do or have done, but those who let their results, their character, and their impact do the talking. In this silence, they create a space where others can experience their authenticity without it being forced. The practice of silence allows us to respond, not react. It enables us to engage in conversations with intention, rather than simply filling the space with noise. By giving ourselves the time and space to think before we speak, we can stay true to our values and communicate more authentically. Silence helps us discern what's worth saying and what's better left unsaid. It gives us the clarity to choose our words with intention, making them more powerful when we do speak. Embracing silence doesn't mean withdrawing from the world, it means stepping back from the chaos long enough to reconnect with ourselves. It means cultivating a sense of peace that allows our true essence to shine through. When we are comfortable with silence, we stop relying on external approval to define our worth. We stop chasing validation and instead cultivate a deep, unwavering sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on others' opinions. To live authentically, we need to embrace moments of stillness. We need to create space to listen to our own thoughts, to understand our true desires, and to align our actions with our values. In the silence, we can shed the noise of the world and reconnect with the quiet power of who we truly are. When we stop seeking constant approval and start trusting ourselves, our authenticity will naturally shine through. So let silence be your guide. Let it be the fertile ground in which your authenticity takes root and blossoms. In silence, you'll discover the freedom to simply be without explanations, without justifications, and without the need for validation. Authenticity is not found in what we say, but in how we show up when no one is asking us to perform. In conclusion, embracing silence as a pathway to authenticity is not just about the absence of words, it's about reclaiming the space to listen, reflect, and align with our true selves. In a world where noise often drowns out our inner voice, silence provides the clarity and stillness needed to reconnect with who we really are. When we stop seeking validation through constant chatter and instead allow our actions, presence, and work to speak for us, we cultivate a deeper, more genuine connection with ourselves and others. Authenticity isn't about impressing the world, it's about being true to who we are. And often the best way to do that is by embracing the quiet moments where we can hear our own hearts. By trusting in the power of silence, we give ourselves the freedom to be real without the pressure to explain, defend, or perform. We stop looking for external validation and start relying on the strength of our own convictions. As we embrace silence, we let our authenticity bloom in a world that constantly demands more from us, showing that sometimes doing less is exactly what we need to become more fully ourselves.